then start to worry that, oh, God's losing. No.
Yeah. But also, I mean, Satan is the ruler of this world still, right?
Yeah.
And we fight against not fight against not principalities and powers, but powers of the unseen world. Like that, there's that. Like it's a battle, but we can fight with hope. And it's a lot better than fighting for just conservative values by themselves, right? That's ultimately gonna, it's like people that have become friends with the ChatGPT a person. Ultimately, it's just going to feed you what you want. And what do we ultimately want is self-glorification, comfort. Like we're going to get more of ourselves, and eventually it's going to it's not going to be good.
No, it's going to be good.
And that's why we need the mirror of Scripture to just say, hey, this is actually who you are, and this is what you need.
Yeah.
And work on ourselves first. Like, how do we have the biggest impact on our kids? We want nice, gentle kids. We got to be nice and gentle. Mm-hmm. It's not by just telling people. It's like us, acting it.
Yeah. So. Did you see that Russia was sending? There was like drones or something or missiles going into Poland. Did you see anything about that?
I did see a headline of something.
Okay, didn't read it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a mailbag question.
Oh.
I have a question for you and Gary on the podcast. I was just listening to when you were talking about the foreign workers program and kids having after-school jobs. What are your thoughts on what I feel is like a recent trend where kids are involved in sports to the point where it's interfering with their work? For example, having to ask for multiple days off in a month and attend their sports activities. Is this a failure of the parents allowing their sports to take present over work, or is it a sign of a broader societal trend away from having kids to do some good, honest work and be committed to their jobs? It has come up for us as an employer when our high school age employee who was just hired specifically for weekends is asking time off and we can't always find coverage. My response is to say, sorry, I can't give you that time off. But my partner takes a little bit more personally and feels stressed out trying to find someone to replace him. I mean, I think for that specifically, if you need to hire someone, make it very clear what your expectations are. If you expect them to work 4 weekends a month and not take time off, make that clear. Otherwise, you have to hire someone else. And if you And the employee also has to make it clear, like, hey, I need 2 weekends off a week for sports things. But the foreign workers thing, I think, is interesting.
It's gaining steam, not losing steam. It's fascinating.
Well, I didn't know when we recorded on it last week that it was actually Rebel News that asked Poilievre this question in the news conference, and they were mainly referring to like the Tim Hortons and the fast food chains being full of people.
So I have an anecdotal story about that, and this will be for people that are local here in Chilliwack, specifically Popcom, Rosedale. If you remember 21, and this, I'm going to offend somebody with this because there's going to be somebody listening who worked there and is going to just be pissed at my criticism. But if you went to that Tim Hortons at the roundabout in Popcom in 2020-21 during the Rona, I mean, you could wait half an hour. Like, I'm serious. It was like not fast food. Like, you could literally brew coffee at home, bring it to all your neighbors, serve the whole neighborhood, and then still go to where you're going quicker than waiting in that lineup. And now it is full of people that are not, and now you're going to give me in a color code again, but white young Dutch kids from Rosedale or whatever. Like, it's not whoever. I don't even know who was working there, but I'm just telling you. Blue elves, whatever. Different people working there now, let's say that. Didn't check their immigration status. But they pound the people through there.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I had another listener send a message to me and says, my 18-year-old son is trying to find a low-skilled job at a tire shop at our oil change place, food fast, and they can't. They're all like by either immigrants or foreign workers, and she didn't know what they were. But obviously, I think you put the note in here, unemployment is the highest it's been in almost 10 years.
Yeah, that's why we're getting rate cuts. That was tied into the whole mortgage/real estate conversation. But the problem is, and you could identify with this. There's people that say, hey, they're in the camp when the government calls them for a census and they ask them a question, right? Statistics Canada, I'm looking for work.
Yeah.
But like, they're a lazy person looking for a $35-$40 an hour job, and they don't want to work on a Saturday or Sunday, and they don't want to work at night, and they don't want, you know what I mean? Like, they have all these criteria. So like, is it, hey, the job's not there, or not the job I'm willing to do for the money that's offered?
Okay, but
fair?
Let's say there's no foreign workers to fill these jobs.
Oh, then it's a disaster.
Well, let's say, okay, so you do in the half-hour lineups. Eventually, you're going to hire a robot to make most of the coffees. You're going to need to have 2 employees in the Tim Hortons.
Trust me, they all are robots already.
And then you can pay $40 an hour to the 1 or 2 people.
No, I don't think that I just don't think we're there as a society. That would be the argument. That was the argument that Pierre Poilievre is having. I'm pretty sure that the BC NDP went against that policy and was, I think, provincially pushing for the foreign worker program. There's just a swath of work that gets done that, like, okay, let me turn it around this way. Hey, yes, we're going to have all the people that, you know, go out in the field and hoe the vegetables and pick up fruit, and people that work at these places get paid $40 an hour. Is everybody willing to pay even more and have more inflation? No, they're not. Right?
No, I mean, I don't think that's the solution.
That's the natural solution. You want to pay people more, you charge more. You look at our mechanic shop, everybody wants a raise. Guess what happens? The shop rate goes up in the shop. Like, it's all connected. So the idea of like having one thing and not the other, like, no. And even though it's fun, like, so there again, it's such a polarizing political ploy by Pierre, but it's the idea of like, you know, hey, give people our jobs. I don't know a lot of people, like basically almost nobody, that's 30, 40, 50 years old. That's a phenomenal worker that's sitting at home, not working, saying, hey, I can't find work somewhere. That would be my response. Now, granted, I mean, I'm in one small area of the country and I don't know that many people, but it's just like this idea of like, no, I think that we're entering into a period where businesses are laying people off, and it will naturally, the free market will naturally sort itself out. And I mean, should there be a limit on how many immigrants come in from other countries to work at a reduced wage? Maybe. The other argument I was going to say, and this is actually the most important part from my perspective as someone that has 2 foreign workers working in one of his businesses, and I have lots of other businesses where we don't have that, and I wouldn't even want that.
Yeah.
But they're not even that cheap. Like, if you look at, like, they get free housing. Well, if you get free housing plus minimum wage in, you know, which is, I think, is $18 or $19 an hour now, somewhere in there, right? Which to me, as someone, you know, I'm not that old, but I remember when minimum wage was, I think, $6 or $7 an hour.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's just not cheap employment. Like, you're not getting a worker really cheap when they're getting a free living accommodations, right? And then, of course, other things on top of that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how, I think it's a pretty divided issue. And I think that,
well, I think that's also, we're dealing probably with a lot of symptoms of a bigger issue in terms of government mismanagement when it comes to regulation and
or even the
taxes and everything else like that, which is, and then this
money printing.
Yeah, money printing. And the trickle down effect of that is more problems like this, where you're just like an employer is like, well, I can't hire at $30 an hour. For me to like keep the stuff I need to pay 15 or $20 an hour, and because, you know, everything else is higher. And so it's also a little bit of a, I think we need to go back to way smaller government and way less regulation.
Way
like
less
Carney's like announcing a new pipeline. You know, he wants to do a new pipeline and no one's coming forward to take the job. Well, because...
No, he changed his mind. Now there was no new pipelines.
Oh,
he
really?
said he was going to, and then no, totally an about face.
Okay, I read today that they couldn't find anybody to do it. Either way, I mean, like the non-regulation is just insane, right? Like it's you can't... It's so hard to do things. Even I notice it myself, like in running a small business, and the amount of taxes I need to pay and the crap I need to do. It's just like, what am I doing?
Why not just go work for someone else?
Yeah.
No, and that is a problem. When you start to have people that are super motivated and have the desire to really push and hire people and do things, and that you take away their motivation, you as a society are running into deep problems.
Yeah.
But the issue is, and I mean, federally, I know that under Trudeau's leadership in 10 years, the federal workforce went up by 40%. And as we would all agree, the efficiency of government agencies did not increase by 40% in that time. You just create a whole bunch more people that vote for a certain party and vote a certain way. And it's very problematic, right? And then, of course, when you're an employee, like, even if have got lots of raises in the last few years, this is why people, when the money was being printed in 2020, 21, 22 and given away, you know, nobody was pushing back because the way that inflation works, it's like a snowball, and it takes a long time before, like, it's still playing itself out now, while in the worst possible time, when, of course, you know, interest rates are higher and people are losing their jobs, you still go to the truck dealership and they warn you, you know, the next one's going to be more, and you go to the tractor dealership and the new models of tractors are more, like, you're still seeing it.
Yeah.
And it's like it's the worst possible thing, but nobody complained in the moment because there was helicopter money and people were getting $2,000 a month and they were getting this and that. And it's like, no, like,
how much of you think is also greed, like, versus it used to be there where you were produced something and you just made 20 points on it and 30 points on it. And now people want to make like...
No. There's very few people making fat margin. if I look at the new business that I started, it is pitiful margin. Like I thought it was way better, and it's just the gross margin is like 8, 9, 10%. Gross margin, not net. So like, what are you doing it for, right? Like you have to build a monster in order to be successful.
Okay, so
that's what I'm working on. I'm going as hard as I can. It hasn't happened yet, but fueled by rage and anger.
Noah's mirror inventory 20 years from now.
Oh, it's so bad. Yeah, it's so bad. But you know what I say, right? If you want sympathy, you can find it right between shit and syphilis in the dictionary.
So how you treat yourself too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to go back to
consistent. We didn't answer the question.
Which question?
The question that the listener asked.
What to do
about the kid that's asking off for sports. I think you said it pretty well. I mean,
that's my answer. It's just like set really clear expectations. It's like anything.
Hey, we're not a sports business. Like we don't appreciate sports. We don't appreciate you playing sports on the weekend. We're hiring you to work.
Yeah. So then if that's a clear upfront.
It's fascinating. It's a family thing, right?
Yeah.
It's actually interesting because we had our school open house at Cascade, and we're like, our school does sports, but like very casually, and we don't have a phenomenal sports program, let's say. There's kids that are great at it, but it's just whatever. And in our family, like we're not a big sports family. Like we're fine with our kids do a little few things, but we're never going to like shut down the whole family program for the weekend to go do sports. Eh?
Well, I think it's just communication. If I say to Nicole, hey, we're hanging out on Saturday, right? And she goes, yes. And I'm thinking it's for breakfast and she thinks it's for dinner. And we come to Saturday and we're pissed off because we're like, what do you mean? We talked about this. Hey guys, if you enjoy that episode and we're blessed by it, would you be willing to support the show? That would help a lot in creating more content, improving the quality of the content, putting the production value, getting more guests on, and me being able to spend more time and energy towards it. So if you're interested in doing that, you can click up here and it'll take you to a support page. But you can also subscribe to the podcast by clicking over here and doing that. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.